Walk with me. It is Saturday, about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am working to get my steps in while I'm working today before my weekend, holiday kicks off. I thought I would jump on, answer any questions that you may have, specifically kind of talking about managing the weekend for success. I know we've got a holiday weekend coming up, and it's important to realize that, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday make up 43% of your weekend. And if you are crushing it Monday through Thursday and the wheels fall off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then I promise you that's why you're not making progress that you wish to see. So a couple of things suggestions I would give you for going into the weekend with success is, number one, just as you plan your week to come, your Monday through Thursday, your Monday through Friday, you got to plan for your weekends. Thursday, Friday, you need to sit down, you need to think about what are the scenarios you're gonna be in. So for me, this afternoon, I'm gonna be in a tailgate scenario for 5 hours, just hanging out, eating, drinking, socializing. Then you go into a football game for another couple of hours. So there's that. And then tomorrow we roll into, the holiday weekend. We may go down to the lake, on the boat, yada, yada, yada. So I've already been thinking about that. This morning, it's like, okay, I need to have a solid, low calorie, high protein breakfast. I'm probably not gonna fast as long, and then I'm gonna go ahead and eat another solid, low calorie, high protein meal before I leave for the tailgate. And I kind of have an idea of what the tailgate food's gonna be. The options are gonna be a little bit limited. I'm probably gonna bring a big crudité, like a bunch of veggies and tzatziki, because with tailgating, I feel like I just sit around and kind of eat the whole time. So my next suggestion is, especially in a scenario like tailgating, delay your first bite, okay? So if I get there at 3:30 and I start eating, I will eat for the next 5 hours. You won't be able to stop. It's like a boredom thing. It's just sitting in front of you. So that's why I'm gonna have a really solid meal before I leave. And then I'm probably gonna wait about 3 or 4 hours to take my first bite. Okay, I'm gonna survive on some cocktails, water, cocktail, and then when I do eat for the first time, I'm gonna sit down. Like, I'm not gonna grab a little cracker with some dip. I'm not gonna, grab a little pedophore, whatever. Like, I'm gonna sit down to an actual meal. Like, I'm gonna get the chicken and rice and jambalaya, or like whatever we're having, and I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna eat a full meal, So again, I don't wanna be nibbling and grazing, because that's one of the worst things that you can do every single day. One of the best strategies that you can make is to get yourself eating no more than 5 times a day. To me, optimal is like 4, 3 solid meals, 1 snack. 5 is okay, 3 solid meals, 2 snacks. I'm 47. We all grew up in this 6 small meals a day mentality. And I'm here to tell you what I have come to realize is that, basically we nibble, we eat these really small meals, like 200 calories here and there. And then by 4 o'clock runs around, we've had maybe 600 calories, and we're starving. We've had 20 grams of protein. Our bodies are starving. Whereas if you sit down and you eat 500 calories, 30 grams of protein, first thing in the morning, 500 calories, 30 grams of protein, your next meal, I promise you, you're like full. You don't need to snack between meals, okay? Nibbling and grazing does not increase your metabolism. That was completely false, okay? There is no data that shows that to be true. It was just based on the assumption that digestion does increase caloric burn. But what we didn't realize when we made this assumption is the impact of insulin on the body's ability to burn fat and store fat. So when you're constantly eating, your blood sugar is constantly elevated. Most likely, depending on the food choices you're eating. Because what is a small meal? Like pretzels and hummus, you know? Most of the time when you're sitting down to like 6 small meals, they're not good choices. They're just like convenience junk food. So I feel like that's a really good strategy going into like a day like today, you know? So that's what I'm gonna do. How do you manage alcohol? Here's the deal, guys. Alcohol's tricky, you know? It is, there is a point in which you have to say no. And it's going to be really hard for you to drink a lot of alcohol 3 days every week and be successful. So what I try to teach my clients in my lean program is that you gotta find pockets in your life when you can really cut back, okay? When you can just say no, when you can use a mocktail, when you can use the recess, when you can use the Ultima mocktails, and you can just omit alcohol, because alcohol impacts your progress in multiple ways. Number one, it's a toxin. Like, there is no health benefits to drinking alcohol, okay? And I do feel like as a society, we're in a much better place regarding that. You know, people the side eye is not as significant if you're not drinking as it was, say, 2 years ago. But alcohol, obviously has a caloric impact. I mean, if I drink for 5 hours, I'm definitely gonna have probably 6 or 7 high noons. I mean, I'm just being honest with you, you know? And that's a good 6, 7, 8, 900 calories, you know? And honestly, that's why, like, I try not to drink that much, you know? But when you're like on the boat, when you're drinking all day long, it can kind of add up really quickly. So again, the caloric impact will add up, you know? And then you have the impact it has on your metabolic rate. So alcohol is actually the 4th macronutrient. A lot of people don't know that. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, alcohol. People love to argue with me about that. It is not. Yes, it is, okay? And because it is a macronutrient, that's why like when you log vodka, it only shows up as calories, because that's all it is. It's just calories. It's its own macronutrient. Like, you don't have to have some like convoluted equation to log alcohol, you know? It's not that complicated. It's just calories. It is what you mix it with that will add carbohydrates, proteins, fats, whatever. But because it's considered a toxin, the body prioritizes the metabolism of alcohol first and foremost. So if you sit down and you eat chicken, broccoli with a glass of wine, as soon as you're done eating, your body prioritizes the breakdown and metabolism of the calories from the wine, and it stores all the calories and the macros, the proteins, carbs, and fats until that metabolism is done. And it can take upwards 4 to 6 hours to metabolize one alcoholic beverage. So you're losing at least 4 to 6 hours of your metabolic rate every time you drink. And I'm here to tell you, most people, all of us, nobody has 4 to 6 hours of their metabolism to lose every day, you know, or once a day, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, you know. So again, you have to realize that on those days, your metabolism is going to take a hit. Number 3, your sleep will suffer. Okay, whether it's 1 ounce alcohol, whether it's 7 high noons, your sleep will suffer. And so you're not going to get that recovery. You're not going to get that insulin management. You know, you're not going to get all that benefit that we need during our sleep on the days that we drink. So it's like a snowball effect, you know? And so at the end of the day, the more you can omit alcohol, the better. You know, sometimes you have to go into these periods, whether it be 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, where you say, you know, in the next 8 weeks, I'm going to drink 4 times. You know, this is what I'm going to do. For a lot of my clients, we can focus on drinking once or twice a week and still see results. But eventually, you might get to the point where you got to do more with alcohol. So at the end of the day, make smart alcohol choices if you are drinking. Low-calorie alcohol options, light beer. I love a high noon, like a seltzer. It is what you mix like a vodka tonic. I mean, a vodka soda is just, you know, basically like 70 calories. But a vodka tonic could be 200 calories because the tonic is loaded with sugar. You know, a Jack and Diet Coke is 70 calories. We're talking about a one ounce pour. Nobody pours 1 ounces in Kentucky, okay? But 1 ounce pour, 70 calories. A Jack and Coke is gonna cost you 200 calories, okay? So it's whatever the mixer is in which you're using. So I love soda water. I love like sparkling water, LaCroix, limes, lemons, you know, things like that is what I would lean on in terms of alcohol. So yeah, it's just about, at the end of the day, it's just about not letting yourself go hog wild for the next 3 days, you know? If today's a bad day, so be it. Wake up tomorrow and get back on track. That is the ultimate goal. This is what I did my TED Talk on, you know, the all or nothing mindset. And I always tell my clients in Lean, I'm like, listen, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now, at any point this weekend that you say might as well, you're not gonna say it out loud, but you're gonna be in your head, you're gonna be looking at that pile of cookies on that tailgating table, and you're gonna just feel not great about your choices. Maybe you're a little tipsy, and you're gonna say, might as well have 4 of them, you know? You're gonna wake up tomorrow morning, you're gonna be hungover, you know, you're not gonna feel great, you're gonna maybe regret some of your choices that you made today, and you're gonna say, might as well go to brunch, have some mimosas. That is what's holding you back, okay? It's not the act of what you did today, it's the response to what you did the next meal, the next day, you know? One day, and honestly, one weekend does not make or break your success. It's what you do after that day or after that weekend that really determines, are you gonna stay on the right path for your health, wellness, and weight loss, or are you gonna veer back off onto the effort path? For sure. Let me answer a couple questions. Jenny says, what kind of caloric deficit for a 53-year-old menopausal with a sedentary drive? So determining your caloric deficit, you need a lot more information, and I can't do it over this kind of live call, but this is something that we do in my Lean 7-week program. But we're gonna look at your height, your weight, your age, where you should be. Yes, your activity level, your exercise, your body composition. And based on that, we can make an assumption of what your caloric deficit should be, okay? So there's a lot of things that go into your caloric deficit. Let me see what other questions you have. How much protein do you recommend? Oh, Jenny's back at it. Jenny, you need to join Lean. All right, again, that's gonna be based on your height, your weight, your age, your activity level. I mean, I can say with confidence that everybody should be getting at least 100 grams of protein a day, minimum. But most people need more, you know. Another metric is you should be eating your weight, your ideal body weight in protein. So if you Google ideal body weight for a woman who's 55 years old and 5'5", it might say, I don't know, and I'm just pulling numbers out, it might say 130, okay? So you should be eating that amount of protein. You know, that's pretty close to where you should. Potentially 75% of your current weight if you're overweight. But I can say with confidence that everyone needs at least 100 grams of protein a day. Okay, any other questions? Now I'm scrolling. Okay, I've noticed the older I get and premenopausal, I struggle with intermittent fasting. Do you notice a difference with fasting as you get older? Not really, but, and again, my question to you would be like, what do you mean? Like, you're just hungry? You're hungrier? Like, you don't feel good? Like, what do you mean not tolerating it? You know, I know for me, my goal is to fast for 12 hours every day. And in my Lean program, that's our goal, 12 to 16. I don't want you fasting longer than 16. Ideally, I don't want you fasting less than 12. And I would say for me, every day is a different fast. You know, if I typically will break my fast between, usually like right around 11, all right? But if I'm starving at 10 o'clock, I'm gonna eat. If I'm starving at 9 o'clock, I'm gonna eat, okay? So I do kind of listen to my body in terms of, you know, what it's telling me. And there's some days I feel like I could go till 4 without eating. So again, I definitely think managing your hormones is very important. Over 40, you should be, thinking about hormone replacement therapy. The challenge is finding a practitioner that's well-versed on all the new things, but try to fast for at least 12 hours. That's the goal. If you can't fast for 12 hours, we got big issues. Big issues. Okay, let me see. LOL, I just started my classes on it. I don't know what classes she's talking about. Let's see. What other questions do you have about the weekends, about the lean program? Oh, okay. Let's see here. I was just having a snack and justifying by it being Saturday. Ugh. Then I remembered you saying to stay consistent and don't get off track on the weekends. There you go. Yeah, I mean, again, I think the more I really try to eat on a schedule. This is another concept that I really encourage my clients to do. And because when I ask you, like, what challenges do you have on the weekends? You're like, I'm out of a schedule. I don't have a routine. Well, make a routine, okay? Like, make a routine. Again, it doesn't have to be like super black and white, but make a routine. I typically eat my first meal between 10 and 12. I eat my second meal between 2 and 4. I eat my third meal between 6 and 8. Like, those are standards, So I know I'm going to go tailgate. And so instead of eating at 4, because I'm going to be at the tailgate, I'm going to eat at 2 today. So, and then realizing that, okay, if I eat at 11 and it's 1 and I'm hungry, then it's like, well, why am I hungry? Did I not eat enough at 11? Did I not get, 400 to 500 calories? Did I not get 30 to 40 grams of protein? Is that why I'm hungry right now? All right, let me do better tomorrow. Am I dehydrated? Is this really thirst? The signal for hunger and thirst are exactly the same. So a lot of times it's just your body asking for hydration. I drink a lot of coffee in the morning and that just dehydrates you. So if you don't start your fluid until later in the afternoon, then a lot of those hunger cues that you think you're getting are really just thirst cues. So it's like, okay, maybe I'm thirsty. Maybe I'll drink some electrolyte water. Or am I stressed? Am I emotional? I just ate. I just had 500 calories, an hour and a half ago. Like, why am I hungry right now? What is that? Okay, because it's not really my meal time. So again, it kind of helps you to walk through, like, what are those hunger triggers? And can I wait, till my meal time to eat? Or do I need to grab something now? And that happens. That absolutely happens. So I think structure is key. So again, I'm going to try to stick with my structure, even though, my food choices are not going to be ideal. Chugging water, so getting my steps in. It's like, what you guys have to realize is you don't have to do it all every single day, but you definitely have to do something. Do you plan to do another 5-day challenge again in the future? Yes, just wrapped up my 5-day challenge. I have a session of lean starting on Monday. TBD, we don't have anything on the calendar. I think right now the next one will be in 2025, but maybe, stay tuned. I'm finding too much protein. It makes me gain weight. It's not the protein, it's your calories. Yeah, the protein is not your issue. You are not in a caloric deficit if you are gaining weight. 80 to 100, okay, gotta be over 100. Unless you're 5 feet tall and you weigh 100 pounds. Let's see here. What other questions? I love when people request to be in my live. I wonder what that would be like, just to randomly, it'd probably go real bad. Would you say the most important to track is your protein goal and make sure that you are under or at your calories for the day and don't worry much about the other macronutrients? Yeah, I love Jen. Hi, Jen. Jen lives in my DMs. Yeah, no, you got to be at or over your protein. You got to be at or under your calories. That's your other macros do not matter as much as those two things. And again, a lot of people are like, well, I've done macros and it doesn't work. And I promise you probably not done macros the way that I teach it. Just completed the 5-day lean. Can I sign up for another 5-day? There is no 5-day. Sign up for lean. You need more than 5 days. You're not going to reach your goal in 5 days. I rode my bike 12 miles yesterday. Afterwards, I felt hungry, but it was thirst. there you go. But I would predict that it's very possible to be hungry after a 12-mile bike ride. Hello, I follow you. It works very well. Thank you very much. Awesome. I love hearing that. Jen says, I love you too, girl. All right, cool. Well, there you have it. So hopefully some good suggestions to help you manage the weekend. Drop the all or nothing mindset. At the end of the day, be active, crush your steps, optimize your protein. You will continue to eat all day long until you hit your protein. Okay, it's the protein hypothesis, the protein optimization hypothesis. So even when you are surrounded by not the best choices, always eat protein and fiber forward. That's what you want to do. I have a family of 6. Best strategy for making meals for everyone throughout the week. I'm gluten-free. Well, again, in my lean program, you get hundreds of family-friendly gluten-free meals that are easy to make. So tons of resources there. But my biggest strategy is keep it simple. You know, you have taco night. And I mean, pretty much everything in taco night can be gluten-free. Kids love tacos. You have pasta night. You can easily find a gluten-free pasta to incorporate, maybe some gluten-free bread. You have breakfast for dinner one night. You can easily make, you know, gluten-free French toast. You can do quiches. You can do frittatas. You can do, gluten-free pancakes. You do pot roast. You do, I mean, again, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. I mean, the best thing that you can do is just sit down. And this is another strategy that I teach in lean, is like, you've got to have your core 4. You really have to have your core 10. You know, you need to sit down and you need to list out 10 meals that your family loves and repeat those. Okay? You won't eat that meal. I mean, most people eat leftovers or eat out once a week, twice a week. So if you repeat those 10 meals, you never repeat the same meal for 2 weeks. My mom cooked 5 meals and we lived on that. And honey, I never complained. So keep it simple. At the end of the day, people are just always just making it harder than it has to be. And it's just because there's so much noise in the nutrition space. There's so much noise, you know. There's so many people making it harder than it has to be. Chia hemp adds so much calories. Should I stop them and eat food instead? Yeah, it's going to be really hard to stay in a caloric deficit and those be your main protein sources. Okay, those are more of a healthy fat with a little protein. I love chia seeds. I love hemp hearts, but that's your problem. Again, your protein is not the issue. It is you're eating too many calories. I need to look at lean. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I hate the noise too. It makes it frustrating. All right, guys, I'll be back. If you found this helpful, do me a favor. I'm going to save it to my main feed. Share it. Share it in your stories. Tag your friends below. Let me know what topics you want to learn more about on my walk, daily walks, as I'm trying to optimize my step. I just had surgery, so I can't lift weights for about another 3 weeks, but just because I had surgery doesn't mean I can't do something. You know, and again, that's what it's all about. It's just about figuring out what are your challenges, but what can you do? Well, I can walk. I can walk a lot, and that's really been my goal, you know, so that's what I'm doing. All right, guys, happy Saturday. Go Cats. Hope you guys have a good one.